What's up, guys? It's Pete. HowToTrainForMudRuns.com. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Haven't put one out in a while because we're restructuring that website, and I had a couple questions come into me about pretty much is what is the Tough Mudder? What is the Spartan Race? What are these mud runs? What are you gonna expect? So all in all, I'm gonna put a sum into it and make it a pretty big and basic. Is that depending on what you're doing, where you're at, how long it is. Some of them range from, let's say, I don't know, 12 miles, some of them a little longer depending on where you're at, some of them only 3 miles, some of them 5 miles. And what happens is you have obstacles in between. Not only that, the terrain is a lot different. It's a rougher terrain, maybe more sand, maybe more swampland, maybe more woods. Then again, it depends on where you're going to do it. So if you're in Florida, it's going to be swampland, some sand. If you're out in the neck woods, Pennsylvania, obviously it's going to be some woods, the necks. If you're out in Colorado, it's going to be mountainous terrain, a lot of rocks and a lot of high altitudes and stuff like that. So that's what you want to train for, depending on where you're at. So you can't say it's always specific to what, or if there's any one workout that you should really focus on. Doing a lot of our workouts will help you get into it, but not knowing where to start. Yeah, I put the workouts out, but there's also a beginning phase and a better phase to be starting into it. I'm just trying to get you somewhat prepared for these things. That said, there's different obstacles. Obstacles that can hurt you, can do some harm, depending if you're not ready for it. Can you skip them? Yeah, some of them you could just skip and just walk around. But is that something you really want to do? Do you really want to enter a challenge or enter a run where you're going to skip most of them? And I watch people just skip through these things, and then they say that they finished it. Yeah, if you're really, really scared or terrified to do it, people don't want to get electrocuted. To be honest with you, I don't like getting electrocuted. That shit hurts. But at the same time, I just run through that shit, get pounded, and then that's it. But there's some people that shouldn't do it. If you have a heart condition, don't do that stuff. You know what I mean? Be smart about what you're going to do. Play it right. If you got knee problems, ankle problems, don't jump off the wall, because that's where your knees are going to buckle. That, or make sure you train to strengthen those knees. Make sure you train to strengthen your ankles. If you got a lower back problem and some things are going to bother you, like, once again, jumping off the wall, jumping off high things, you're not really feeling it, find out what's going to bother you before you step into it. So, there's pretty much in a sum, there's a lot of mud. And sometimes not as much mud as you think. Some people call theirs a mud run, and all they do is take a hose out and they wet it, for a couple that I've been to. But for the more serious ones, yeah, it's muddy, it's wet, you're going to be wet off the bat, you're going to be really hot, you're going to be really cold. Depends on the time of the year that you're doing it. Straight off the bat, you might be hit with some obstacles that you've never heard of and or weren't ready for. So be ready for that. Make sure you can crawl different ways. Make sure you can support your own body weight. Make sure you're strong in that pulling aspect where you're hitting some pull-ups, inverted rows, really getting strong. Make sure you have good grip strength. A lot of pushing strength, meaning you could do good push-ups, at least maybe a 5, decent push-ups where you could hold your body up and your trunk could be stable. Make sure you're doing a lot of squats, lunges, so you get a lot of leg endurance and really working those legs to endure the work capacity that you're going to be doing with all the walking and the jumping and the climbing and the trekking up walls or trekking up hills, Some of them make you swim. If you can't swim or are afraid of water, skip that bad boy. Alright, but try not to skip the easier ones where it's like crawling through the net or, bear crawling through mud. Or just walking through the mud. If you're walking through high pitches of mud and just afraid of slipping, that's something you really don't want to skip. Go through it. That's what you're there for. Go through that bad boy, trek through it, and make it as tough as it can to your capacity or to your level of fitness. What else could I tell you about these things? It's always a good time. A lot of these things, you go in there with friends. Make sure you're in with a group. If you want to do it by yourself, that's cool. And I know a lot of Spartan people do it by themselves, but they end up working out with people next to them at that level. So if you got those really big competitors, they like to be in the front and they like to rip it and see how long or how fast they do it. That's what Spartans do. Tough Mudder, no time. They're just doing it to do it, and really their goal is just to finish with some weird obstacles in between. Warrior Dash, is that timed? I'm not even sure. I think I forget. I don't remember. Anyway, some of them will give you chips where, you actually are timed and tracked out, which is pretty cool. So, with that said, make sure you're ready to run. All right? Make sure you have good gear. Make sure you eat correctly to that so you perform well. Make sure you take care of any injuries and or something dysfunctional in your body before you attempt it. Make sure you know if you have a heart condition so you don't get zapped by electricity and or your heart races up to a level that it can't really control. You have high blood pressure, make sure you go to the doctor before you're ready to start training for it. You should be ready in every aspect, not just go into this thing and just jump right into it. Sure, can you do it? Absolutely. Is it going to be a shitty time? Most likely. Alright guys, so I just want you guys to be safe. Trust me, I've learned from experience. I'm fucking myself up all different ways, and I don't want you guys to do it. And that's why I make the mistakes to help you guys out. Alright, this is Pete, howtotrainformudruns.com. I'll talk to you later. Peace out. Or peace in.